Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and this is the second video of the Animorph series. I previously covered books 1 through 3 and their corresponding graphic novels. And those I had in physical form. This is going to cover books 4 through 8. So we're covering them in groups of 5, so I am not going to a lot of detail. Not to mention there's not a lot of detail with these books. They're very, very formulaic. You start off with one of the main characters, which is, as of right now, you have Jake, who's the main leader. You have Cassie, who's an African-American girl and who is, technically her and Jake are dating. There's Rachel, who is Jake's cousin. There is Marco, who is Jake's best friend. There is Tobis, who, if you remember from the last video, was kind of a friend of theirs, kind of nerdy, ended up being stuck as a hawk. And then in the 4th video, we meet the Androgolite, who's joined them, who's the brother of the one who transformed them, and who he goes by Axe. So each one of these books has one of these as the storyteller. They give some information. They always start the exact same way. They can't tell you their last name or where the heck they are because yerks. And kind of explaining what happened. So, and then it goes on to, here's our problem. Here's us nearly getting killed. Here's us getting out of it. So, the kind of schedule. Each one of them follows this formula. So, I'm going to give a brief explanation of each of these 5 books. And yes, I'm going to be looking in the summaries because I just read, I'm going to be doing 2 videos tonight of 10 different books. So I cannot keep them all in my head. And yes, I'm skimming through them because one, as interesting as these are, they are not my taste. I don't like violence. It's just not my thing. I had similar issues with the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. And these are roughly around the same age range. With the Animorphs, they're late elementary, maybe early middle school. That is their target audience. Now, they are good books. Nothing against them. They are fantastically written. They are, in fact, formulaic. But that is the point. These are relaxing reads for kids this age. These are pure fun science fiction. Probably a great way to get into science fiction, particularly if you can kids can identify with these various specific characters. So, let's get into this. So book 4 is The Message. And this is Rachel, I believe. Yes. No. Is this Rachel or Cassie? Who is this is Cassie, sorry. So in this one, Cassie and Tobis keep having dreams of the ocean. It's like they're getting some sort of, obviously, a message. And they eventually, they're wondering if what's going on down deep in the ocean. And they go down there, and I believe they transform into dolphins. And, no, I think they do seagulls first, and then, because they're following in a York boat. And then they transform into dolphins, which is on the cover. And then they go down and they find an Androlite drone ship and find, this is his full name, Axmel Esgroth. Okay, I'm not even pronouncing that, so you can look these up. He was the little brother of Prince Elfgar, who's the one who transformed our Animorph group of friends here. So they end up rescuing him. They get some help from some whales that chase away our main villain, which is Visser 3. So that's our main villain throughout these entire series, because he's the guy he's the Yerk in charge of transforming and taking over Earth. So they rescue him. He takes a bit of all of their DNA and makes his own human Animorph when he needs to. And he's hiding out in the forest near Cassie's parents' house. So, and that's pretty much the basis of this one. So that's book 4. So book 5 is Predator. This is Marco. Now, one thing to remember about Marco, at least at this point, is he does not want to be an Animorph. His mother disappeared relatively recently. She died. And he doesn't want to, his father's already depressed. So he doesn't want to leave his dad. So getting himself nearly killed multiple times is not exactly on his agenda. It's this book where this changes. So this is his big gorilla book. So I think he's already changed into a gorilla before. But this is, in his mind, this is going to be his last. That's kind of the thing. So this is focused on, this is his last one. But they get into a bunch of trouble and end up on the Yeerk mothership. And it turns out his mom's not dead. She's a Yeerk. She's, I think, Vassar 1. So she's been taken over. She's checking on the invasion of Earth. And she chews out Vassar 3 like crazy, which is interesting. But they nearly, of course, as usual, nearly die. But obviously this changes Marco's view. His mother in human form is trapped inside that body with that Yeerk, and it makes him very, very angry. So, and this is also, I believe, when they're getting themselves transformed into no, we're not at flies yet. But they get into a heck of a lot of trouble, as they do, because again, they nearly die in every single one of these. It's very, very suspenseful in the series. So they unfortunately escape. They get in trouble, they escape, and as they always do, they get into a tube called a drop shaft and escape the pod room where things are going on. And they get into a escape pod that's programmed to return to Earth so they can get home. And his dad finally decides to get his old job back. So, even though Marco now realizes his mother is not dead. So his dad kind of starts working again after they go visit his mother's grave. But now Marco is very much, as opposed to in the first 4 books, he's now very much committed to this because his mother. So that's the basics of book 5. Now moves into the capture, which is, I believe this is, I think this is the first one we have. Is this Tobus? No, this is Jake. We haven't had Tobus yet. So this is Jake, and this is going to go in the next couple of these. They're transforming into bugs. So this is a problem. This one has to do with Jake. And Jake has an issue. His brother Tom, as we know from the first books, is a controller. And this hurts Jake because him and his older brother were very close. And his brother is now taken. Yawning. They're trying to find the new base, and I believe this one is connected to the hospital. Yeah. So they transform into houseflies. And this is the one where we find out a bunch more. The Yeerk pool is a giant jacuzzi in a hospital. And they find out through, of course, spying that the mayor of their town is going to be coming in for surgery, and they've infiltrated a lot of members of this hospital, and they're going to turn this mayor who's planning to run for president into a Yeerk, and then they would have ultimate trouble. So they destroy the Yeerk pool, but Jake's head gets stuck in it, and he gets turned into a controller. Luckily, his friends are able to grab him and trap him for 3 days. Now, remember, one of the things about these Yeerks, maybe I haven't mentioned this, is they have to go into a Yeerk pool where they're regenerated every 3 days, or they die. So all they have to do is keep Jake trapped for 3 days before the thing inside of his head dies. And Jake learns a lot about this. He also learns what happened to Tom, his brother, how he was dragged into being a controller. Essentially, he was following a girl. he was older. These guys are like freshmen, sophomores. Jake's maybe they're somewhere middle high school. I think they're close to seniors. They're like 16-year-olds. But Tom, his older brother, was in college, I think, and was chasing a girl and saw something he shouldn't and was transformed. And Jake, through this Yeerk's mind as it's dying, sees his brother being dragged and infested and turned into a Yeerk. So that's kind of traumatizing for him. He learns a lot more about what it is to be in Yeerk's brain in this. So, and let's see, is there anything else that's moving on besides them messing around? They may have tried to transfer into ants in this one. I know they do that at one point in time, which is a really, really bad idea because they don't, ants are dangerous. So, and oh yes, that this creature, because it can, that's in Jake's head, tries to transform incessantly to get out, including turning into an ant. And then of course Jake gets back, returns to his family. He's acting strangely because, and oh yes, Axe decides to transform into Jake to make sure his family doesn't realize he's missing. So that's the general of this. So kind of the point of this one is that Jake's development is he really gets an in-depth work of what happened to his brother, and kind of what's going on there. So that's book 6. So moving on to 7. This is Rachel. So, and Rachel in bear form here. Again, some of these are starting to, because again, these things blend. Because again, they're really, really formulaic, so I'm going through them very quickly. Okay, so this is one where Rachel and Cassie go to the circus, and this is, again, part of these are going to trip back to, these came out in the 90s. And I don't know if they were, according to this fan site, they were republished in 2012 or re-released. I don't know if they changed any of them. So this is a zoo, this is a circus episode where there are animals. Now, you do not see them, animals in circuses anymore, at least not in the United States. Which is, again, kind of the target audience for these. So you do not see them. Rachel's the crazy one in this group. She's the hero. She's the one who takes chances all the time. So she changes into an elephant to rescue this elephant and damage its cruel trainer, because that's what she do. And of course, and that's something that Rachel's dad is doing. This is also where we find out that Rachel's dad, her parents are divorced. She starts dealing with the fact that her father he's a reporter. He got a big job in a different state, and he's going to be leaving. And he wants Rachel to go with him. And so she's dealing with this, along with the Yeerks, and just kind of things kind of being a little nuts. And they're obviously dealing with more vicious battles here. And, oh, this is the one with the... Is this the one with the... Yes. So this is the weird thing. They start interacting with this creature called the Elmist, or Elmist. I can't pronounce this. Where they're shown the future if they don't fight, essentially. They basically, what happens if the Yeerks take over, and they're completely controlled. Kendra, I am not letting you out right now. Sorry, I'm meowing cats. And this creature, they finally figure out, it likes the humans, it likes Earth, it thinks Earth is really, really interesting, and it doesn't want it destroyed. But it can't, it feels like it can't interfere. And yet it finds a loophole in its own world by showing them the past and knowing that they can change the future if they know this. Sorry. Cats are very, very annoying, particularly very, very old ones. Come here, Kendra. My very old girl. She's 14 in this video. By the time you guys see this, she should be close to 15. If she's still around. Do not viciously bite me, you annoying creature. And of course they escape, and they survive, and then of course Rachel realizes, like, yeah, she's not going to go back with her dad. She's not going to move in with her dad, but she can't. She has to be here and handle this. Okay, so that's 7. Moving on to 8. Hold on. Sari, hold on. What is this? This is it. No, this is one of their shorter ones. Moving on. What is this? This is 8. Okay, here we go. 8 is Alien. This is, I believe, this is Axe's first one. So this is, I believe this is, yeah, this is Axe. So we're hearing life from the Androlite. And in this one, you have to understand, Axe is very young. He's essentially he's the same age as the teenagers here. So he's a teenage Androlite. So he, with the help of Tobis, gets to this basically tower of, I think it's a radio telescope, and contacts home. And he's basically told, like, we're busy. He takes the blame for what his brother did, because his brother was a big hero, and he didn't want to tarnish his reputation when he finds out just how pissed they are that the powers that they transfer the technology to these young humans. Because once upon a time, and this is, we find out the origins of the Yeerks, one of their ancestors gave technology to these other planets, to these Yeerks, and now they're taking over everything. So he gets in a heck of a lot of trouble, and gets yelled at, and takes the blame for his brother. And he's able to at least contact his parents, let them know their brother's dead, and told, it's like, it's going to be a couple years before we can come help you. You're on your own, and you're a moron. This planet is doomed. Is kind of what happens. And he eventually, through this, he's upset. He's lonely. He misses his family. He's young. Remember, he's a young kid, as alien as he is. And essentially, his friends push him. Kendra, stop that. Cats are annoying. And basically tell him, it's like, no, we're your friends. And he realizes, deepens his bond with them, when he realizes what's going on. Kendra, stop scent marking things. Get down. What's going on there. And in this adventure, Axe's whole arc is, he's realizing that he has to, one, tell his friends the truth, because they're his new family. So, and they also, in this course of this, they get Vassar 3 out of the Androlite body that it's been hiding into. Basically, because they go try and ambush it, because they get this, this controller, who's basically, his girlfriend was put somewhere else and allowed to die. Because in the previous book that I didn't mention, the major thing that they end up doing is they destroy this miniature sun-like thing that helps feed the Androlite's pool. So that basically, and they have another one on the mothership, and there's a spare one on the way. But in the meantime, a lot of the Yeerks are going to die, which ones who are ever expendable, they're going to die, and then they're just killing the humans that the Yeerks were infesting. And so this guy who's working, this Yeerk controller who's working at the telescope, basically the creature that he loved was one that was left to die, because she was less important. So he kind of helps them. And that's in the last book. That's in the last book. In this one, again, they do deal with Vassar 3. In this one, they find out with this creature who basically tries to help them ambush Vassar 3 because he wants Vassar 3 dead. And the Vassar 3 escapes. He gets out of the Androlite body. The Androlite, it's like, kill me. Kill me now. I have seen too much. I have seen so many horrors. Tell my mate I love her, but kill me. And so they do. Axe kills him. And then he goes back. And Kendra, no. And he sends another message. It's like, this is probably the last time I'm going to be able to send a message. One, tell this creature's family that he's dead and that he loves them. And basically, try not to, basically he yells at, it's like, you know what, I'm going to stick around here and help because these humans deserve it. My brother thinks they deserved this. And he tells his friends everything of what he tells them, how the Yeerks were created and everything. And his people basically feel guilty, which is the reason they never want to give technology to any other race again. And that's the reason his brother would have gotten massively in trouble for giving the morphing ability to these kids. But his brother desperately wanted to save Earth. And so he did this. And so the younger brother is like, in honor of my brother, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing this. He also shows them that they absorb, because they don't have mouths, they absorb nutrients through their feet, which apparently is creepy. And then, of course, he blackmails this Eslin to contact his family one more time. And they had, basically, he's going to help them. He's going to keep fighting. So it's his concentration of continuously fighting. So that's really it for this video. I'm not going to inflate the Animorphs. Kendra, stop it. Down. Annoying creature. The Animorphs and Anne of Green Gables are going to be going on the same time. I am not filming the Anne of Green Gables right now because I'm trying to get through these 53 books, which is the reason they're being done in quick summaries, 5 at a time. They are very, very interesting. They are very formulaic. This is not a bad thing. They have a very good structure. They're probably a great way to introduce longer chapter books in more intense science fiction to kids in the mid to late elementary area. That is who they are written for. So they are really, really good at that. It's just, there's a lot of books. There's 53, and I'm trying to review them all. I am reading them on my tablet. I'm not going to put a bunch of pictures up of these. My first video, these will all be in one playlist under Animorphs. But they're written really well for their demographic. And them being formulaic is not a problem at all for this demographics. There's a lot of interesting understanding in the character development. And yes, they focus on one character development at a time because it's a good way to teach kids how to do this. You can actually probably read these books. There's an obviously overarching theme, but it has the basic rising action, falling action, basic English formula of how things work. And each book has a decisive beginning and end to them. With, as far as I know, no cliffhangers in these. Besides, of course, they have to keep fighting. So that is, again, it for this video. You guys will be seeing, if you want to check out other videos, my book reviews come out Mondays. My film reviews come out Fridays. I'm covering Anne of Green Gables along with these guys, followed by the Boxcart Children, then the Wings of Fire series. Those are my series this year. Then I'm covering some interesting hobbies in January, Black History in February, Women's History in March, the Titanic in April. May, I'm covering Asian history with focus on Angel Island. Then I'm covering July, I'm covering immigration on the East Coast with a focus on Ellis Island. Then I'm covering August is where we're handling women inventors, Then September, I'm doing a deep dive into Beauty and the Beast. November, we're doing the Hindu festivals, Diwali, and then I'm doing mysteries in December. In October, I'm doing space. So that's the overview. So thank you. If you like this channel, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one. Thank you.